Well, the reason I'm having an exhibition with Jo Williams, I've known Joan for a very long time. My granddaughter had done, who's autistic, and she'd done a self-portrait of herself and divided her face into portions. This is all white, there's a bit up here red, this green. And I was telling her, Jo, about this and how Di had asked me to do a self-portrait thing at the Botanical Gardens. And I was thinking of ideas of what I could do. And as soon as I started talking to her, Jo said, "Oh, I've got this exhibition about my coats. It's all self-portraits. You know, why don't we do something?" You know, and I said, well. So then she got very excited. And I was speaking to Sandy from Cedar Galleries, and she got very, very excited about it. And I got excited. And it went from there. So that's how we came to be having it, just from a conversation about self-portraits.
As everything in my life that's serendipitous and organic, I had a call in the morning from Beryl Wood, who rang me up and said, "Oh, Jo, I've just been to the art gallery and, you know, they're giving away money," but more than that, because Beryl doesn't care about money. But she said, "What can we as artists do for the mental health of people? What can we do?" And as she's talking to me, my coats are popping up in my head, and she's talking about self-portraits. And I look at the coats as self-portraits. And 2 hours after that, Sandy Doble rang me up and said, "Jo, I've just come back from Cedar Gallery and we want a project up there." And then I went and had a shower, and with the water rushing over my head, the two combined. And yeah, I've done many, many workshops, but I've never done, this is first ever coat workshop, because it's combined Beryl's self-portrait theme and what I consider that the coats are conceptual self-portraits. So yeah, that's combined for the first time. And even though Beryl and I have known each other for decades, we've never worked together, and we've never had an exhibition together. Yeah, well, the first lot of coats came from another exhibition I did, like that's how they come about, Journey from Southend. It's one of my favourite places in the world, and I was over there doing. And the week I was over there doing stuff, the skies, it's like God gave me these amazing skies. Oh, threw in a full moon, threw in a dawn full moon. It was like, oh, the jewel box of the universe. And so then I got this collaboration with this fabulous photographer, Katrina Elliott, and we did this collaboration, which I've never done before. So she merged I'd never heard of a G-clay print, and she merged the photographs I had with the drawings I think I had, and because I'd taken a lot of documentation. And they were the first coats, but they were G-clay coats. So they were quite probably one-dimensional and probably very sort of graphic and stark, because all the shape is what I use all the time of the kimono, and I love the kimono shape because it's like someone there with their arms outstretched in surrender and openness and willingness, and that's why I use it. I just love it. They have evolved from that, but they were the first coats, yeah, the very first coats. Well, like all workshops, especially this one, because one, I'd never worked with Beryl before. Two, I'd never done a scapegoat. Now, the scapegoat workshop is based on the book Women Who Run with the Wolves, Clarissa Estes, who's a Jungian analyst, and it's a combination of that she did scapegoats, and my concept of coats, which comes from a fairy story I wrote in the 90s about a bird with a broken wing that had to wear coats. But so all those factors, those new factors, like I teach a lot, and being, you know, on my own, if I've got, you know, everything covered myself, it's great. But yeah, so, and also I hope I can impart my ideas, I don't want everyone to make a coat I want them to make. I want them to make a coat for them. And it's all about healing wounds and, you know, things we carry around that we're dragging around. It's like putting lead weights from fishing things in your coat that you drag. You think, do I need to drag this weight around? So the first day, of course, you never know the dynamic of people too, that the big factor of that, and also the dynamic of working here at Cedar Galleries, which I've never taught before. So all those things. So everything's new. There was a certain bit of anxiety and maybe doubt, hoping I could pull this off with Beryl. But, everybody that's come together, the dynamic of the group is so fabulous. But the first thing I did was they serendipitously picked a scroll of spiritual writing that I had. So they picked their own. I didn't pick it for them. They had to go away and read it. And it always does. It always does. And even then today, putting down postcards and pick one postcard that resonates with you, and it's always part of their story, what they want to express creatively, because that's what happens. You either absorb all those things, but if you can bring them out in a creative process, what happens is during the process you detach from the emotional overwhelm of it. And then you get caught up. It's like homeless kids, I'd say, don't go and break a window. Get a canvas and throw a bucket of black paint on it while you're screaming. And once it's on, you go, oh, that looks all right. And you start getting involved with the imagery. So I'm really, really happy with how things have gone. It was interesting today. Fierce stories. Amazing stories and amazing way. I'm dying to see the finish, all the coats hanging up. Yeah, and all the coats are different because they're all pertaining to the person that's making them. For instance, one of them, they're still traumatised from getting dragged from school to school, something like 30 schools in their early life. And the anxiety and fear and insecurity that goes with that, still in their 60s, still affected by it. Another one is she said, I want to be somebody. I want to be like someone says, oh, Katrina Elliott, she's an artist. Oh, Jo Williams, she's an artist. I want to be my name as an artist. And I said, well, did you see my birthday code up there? And the proverb, like I always have next to my work, always have a proverb or a saying with it. It says, be yourself, everybody else is taken. And it's interesting in the unfolding of what she was going to do. And I said to her, what are you in a Chinese astrology? And she didn't know. And I said, well, look it up, Google it, get your year. So she got a year, and what is she? She's the only unique one in the Chinese astrology that is a fantastical animal, which is the dragon. And what's more amazing than that, the dragon is made up the antlers of a deer, the head of an ox, the snout of a crocodile, the body of a snake, with the scales of a fish. Now, how more unique can you get than that? You wouldn't want to be anybody else. So, and that work I'm dying to see finished because it's so, and what was interesting today, because she's done all the scales, the fish scales, like a whole page of them, and I said, now turn that over and then draw the head out of it. So the whole body's going to be out of the scales of the fish. And I said, you flip it over so you're always surprised by what happens, and you're not going, if you're looking at it, you go, oh, I want to save that bit, or oh, that's so pretty, and in the end you get so tight, But if you just turn it over and draw and then cut it out and go, oh, look where that bit of paint ended up, it's created an eye or something you wouldn't even thought about. But she turned it over, she did the head, and I said, now turn it back, and she said, but what if people say the scales are upside down? And I said, oh my God, yeah, what if they say the scales are upside down on your head of an ox with the snout of a crocodile and the antlers of a deer and with the body of a snake. Yeah, they would say that. Oh, aren't the scales upside down? But that just typifies that negative stuff in your head, that there's always someone, what if, what do people think? I really want them to, they're doing their own unique coats, and like in Women Who Run with the Wolves, she made the coats for people and herself to burn after they were made, and no one could bear to, because they've owned their scars. And like in that kintsugi, the Japanese, you know, when they break something, they pour gold to bring it together. It's more beautiful and stronger than it ever was. And that's what I believe happens with the coats. And they can go on and on. I can take them home tomorrow, hang them up and keep adding things as it goes on. So there's a really lot of powerful stories. It's amazing, and they're all going to be unique, and they've all used different mediums, and yeah.
Because my Jo and Jo's work is so miles apart. Jo's a conceptual artist, and I was once told I'm a little bit literal. Well, that's all right. I paint stories in my paintings, but Jo reckoned my wearable art, because I like doing wearable art. I've had several exhibitions. They are self-portraits to a certain extent of me putting myself in that character or that place where I want to do that. So even though we're so different, Jo reckons we complement itself. I was really concerned about that and said to Jo, look, I just don't know whether I'm going to be up to, because I know her standards, which are wonderful, and I know how much, she's true into it. She knows exactly. A lot of what she talks about goes right over the top of my head, I've got to be honest. I don't, I might love it, but I don't always understand it, and I was hoping. But doing it, I understand now what she means. I've come to think a bit more probably about what I do, which I didn't before. I was taking it because of it's just this, or it's just that, so which isn't good for you, anybody's self-esteem, is it? So she inspires you to believe in yourself. And I think that's what she's done with people here today. There's a lot of inspiration in my work from the theatre, because as a very small child, an aunt took me in London to see a play called Bless the Bride. And I know all the songs still from it. I was about 10 years old. I'd never been anywhere before. And I always wanted to be in the theatre. I wanted to go to drama school. It didn't happen, for one thing or another. But so when I was older, very old, I thought, well, why not do it now? You didn't do it then. There's never too late to start doing things. And I just started doing with the Bunbury Players. I just founded this group and advertised, got all these wonderful actors in Gladstone. We've got such a good arts section in Gladstone, and got loads of support. And we went on and did all that. That's all it was from. It's really from being a little girl and loving that, and I always kept that with me. I used to go to the pictures occasionally with my sister, my older sister Olga, and imagine those, they used to have great big curtains drove in, and I think that was a ball gown, and obviously a dreamer, but that's what it's from. I brought all sorts of odds and ends today, mostly things left over from when I used to make the costumes for all the plays. I used to go around all the op shops and pick up wonderful fabrics you can't buy sometimes, or trimmings or things like that. Sometimes I'd buy new fabric if I really need it. For the King and I had to buy all new fabrics. But and I've got a huge chest at home that Keith made me. It's made from the dance floor from Heron Island that used to be there, and it's wonderful. And it's in a shed, and I keep all my fabrics, they're all jumbled up. I'm not a tidy person. And so I just went, when Jo said that, I thought, right, I must have tons of stuff. And I did, and I still got even more, trying to get things that people might inspire them to want to make a coat, So it's all the leavovers mostly from that. It's really lovely to see bits and pieces of things I've used and think, oh, I used that in that. Or I've had a few wearable art competitions And that was part of a wearable art competition I did then. And that's lovely. It's having another life now, and that's wonderful. That's the good thing about keeping all this stuff, because it has another life in another area.
Well, how I feel with this workshop as a teacher, in particular, to most, because it's so personal, because it's unearthing hurts and wounds that are buried, fears for the future that someone's facing. And if my experience, because I bring all my experience of all those things, looking into the black void, full of fear, until I think, I need the faith to step out. If I can, in a safe, respectful place, I always find it a good sign. Someone said, did you sell anything? I said, no, but I made someone cry. And to me, that's more, if I've moved someone so much, and there's been a few tears in this workshop already, not blubbery tears, tears that have come up, because once, and this is really specific to this workshop, once they come up and they're expressed creatively into this coat, they no longer own the person owns them. And that's why you can't burn them. You dance for joy in front of them and go, thank you. I've been blessed by these wounds. Because if I didn't have them and stitch them with gold and do that, I wouldn't be the person I am today.